morning, everybody. Welcome back to My Classic Fords. I'm Gordon Best. We're still working on the Jag. Tonight, we're going to frame in a window on each side. That's going to help tie in my roof structure to the pillar. That's also going to show us what the windows are going to look like. I'm also going to put a brace across the back where the window starts. And that's also going to take the flex out of the roof. And then I've changed my mind on the back. I was going to cut it off like a Daytona coupe. I'm no longer going to do that. I like the back end. I like a few features on it. It's going to be still severely customized. But the whole theme, I think, has changed. I think I want to go with a car that looks like a Jag, but yet is completely customized. I've got some inspiration from a Daytona coupe, from a Datsun, from an XKE Jag, a Triumph GT6, a couple different cars like that. So I'm going to go with my own thing, and let's see how it looks. So let's get at it. Alright, so the first thing on the agenda tonight, I've bent these little tubes up. I matched them so that both of them are exactly the same. So what we're up to, I'm kind of looking at this for a window. Just a small little window back here. It's not going to open. There's no back seat. It's just a two-seater. I just want this for looks and a little bit more visibility when you turn around and look out the back. I got this kind of style from another one of my favorite cars, a '69 Mustang. It's not exactly the same, it's just sort of similar. So what I'm looking at here, I'm going to make this flush, and I'm going to leave this stick out just a touch, because when the roof comes down, I still want it to bend a little bit. So what we're up to, we want to scribe this. So I'm just going to guess at it for now to get us close. I'm going to take about that much off. Down here, looks like about the same. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and we'll see how it fits. Okay, so that looks like it fits pretty good. So I think we'll go ahead and tack that. Before I do that, because this fits really well, I think I will mark this one out on the other piece, cut the other piece while we're at it. And just because I want to see at the leading edge of this window, I want to know if it's the same distance from there to there as it is on the other side. Okay, so the passenger side is done now as well. And what I did to try to make them the same, I went right here with my tape and I marked 5 and 5/8. And I did the same thing on the other side. We know these pieces are the same because I just simply laid them on top of each other and traced them out. But what I had to try to figure out was how to make sure that they both had the same amount of tip in. So what I come up with, as you see, they are definitely tipped in to try to match the sleep of the roof. This hole happens to be in the dead center of the car. So what I did was, I come up 4 inches, just a random number. I just come up 4 inches off the deck on both sides, put a line. I hook my tape here, and I measured it here. I'll try to get in so you can see it. It's 25 and 3/8. Okay, right to the line. And I did the same thing on the other side. They look good. They both look exactly the same. And I'm thinking this is the best bet. So as you see, I got 25 and 3/8 there as well. So I thought that was about the best thing I could do, just for myself, my own peace of mind, just so I knew they were the same. I don't know any better way of doing it, I guess. That's why I did it that way. All right, so what we're up to now, we're looking at the roof. We're going to put a tube across the roof. And what I did here was the same sort of principle as the window frame. I bent up a piece of tube to go across, and I simply matched the radius on both sides of the tube so that we could flex the sheet metal to match. So we'll go ahead and scribe that now and put that tube in. All right, well, that's what our tube looks like. Like I said, when I rolled this tube, I made sure that these corners were exactly the same. I just took my soapstone and I just scribed a line where we need to cut it on both sides. So we'll go ahead and zip cut that, and then that's going to fit right in here. It's going to butt in here and butt in here. We'll slide it into the roof, and we'll pick the roof up. As you see, it's pretty flimsy right now. So I want to get rid of that. And this brace will also help tie this frame together. Once this roof frame is done, we got our pillars tied back together with the window brackets, or the window frame. This will be tied together. Then we're going to start working on the back. And once we get the back tied together, then we're going to go ahead and start working on the front of the car. Okay, so I wanted to show you something. I made a little mistake. When I cut this, I'm not sure what happened, but it's a little too short. Looks to me like we're probably 1/4 inch, 5/16 too short. So instead of just trying to ram this one way and stuffing something in there and welding it, I can't do that. This has to be centered. The reason it has to be centered is because this tube has an arch in it. It's rolled very slightly this way to help with the little crown in the roof. Also, the ends are matched, so we don't want to go manipulating that, and we don't want to just put it in and try to fill the gap, because what's going to happen is if you fill that big of a gap with weld, it's going to suck in on you. It's going to distort. You're going to start warping your panels. Up to this point, everything we've put together has been tight. So a simple mistake can lead to problems like that. So how we're going to fix that is I'm just going to go ahead, take my welder, and I'm just going to build this back up. That's all we can do at this point. We'll just dab that back up a little bit. We'll put 1/8 of an inch or so back on each side. We'll make it tight again. Alright, so now that the ends have been built up, like I said, I put about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 5/32 on each end. I came from my door pillar back. I just wanted to double check to make sure if this piece of sheet metal wasn't cut exactly. I want this brace to be, 100% straight with the pillar. So I came back 24 5/8 on both sides, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick this in and see how well it fits. Alright, so I'll jump down now, have a look to see where this lines up. Okay, so this is what I come up with. So as you see, the sheet metal that we cut is pretty good. It's got a couple little waves in it. That's not that big a deal because we're going to put weld here and we're going to grind that in, and then we're going to put a skim of filler on it. So it's not going to be a big deal. But more importantly, with that tube in there, the roof line will match. We can pull the sheet metal down to that and it'll hold it tight. So what I did to make sure it's the same, I just butted into the pillar and came back, and it just worked out that it was 24 and 7/8. Some of you can see that, 24 and 7/8 to the tube. So then I double checked it on the other side, and that's what it was. So that's the best I can do. 24 and maybe 13/16. So it's out about a 1/16, maybe. So I'm okay with that. Like I said, I think that'll strengthen everything up pretty good now. I think my roof is done at the moment. I think we'll leave it at that. I'll put a few more tacks on it. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a look at the back of the car. And like I said, I decided not to cut the back of the car off. So we're gonna look at how to tie this little piece into this. Okay, the roof's tacked. What I did there, I just started in the middle. I just squeezed it with one hand, just by hand, tacked it that way. I just worked it out like that. The roof laid nice and flat. I'm really happy with it. It looks good. You know, it's the same distance here as it is here. It's good and tight. You know, it's not popping in and out or nothing. So I'm pretty happy with that. That'll be as far as we go for the roof and the body panels on the back. What we're up to now, what I've decided to do at the back end, instead of cutting it off like the Daytona, I want to keep this little piece here. I kind of started to like that. We're going to probably do something for taillights, a little custom. I'm thinking, I got some round bar here that we're going to make this radius match. I want something about like this, so it comes up, sweeps in on both sides. We'll probably bring the trunk down like this, weld this in, and then I'm thinking we'll make like a small little trunk that opens up, and we'll have a fixed rear window. We'll go ahead and cut all this stuff off at some point. I'm thinking a nice little chrome bumper tucked right into the car. That's sort of what I got in my mind right at the moment. Probably going to use the old trunk for most of the pieces, just because I have it, it's already here. So what I'm up to now, I'm going to take this, I'm just holding it here, because I want to know roughly by eye where I want to cut these tubes off. And this is just preference, this is all just looks. The trick is, when you're doing something by looks, the trick is to make the other side match 100%. That's always the hard part. It's always easy to make one side work. Okay, so what I'm up to now, I've got this how I want it. Where I'm going to use the trunk, I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it, but I think we're going to block this in, and we're going to make this part of the trunk open, just this little part here. I think it'd be kind of neat to use the factory latch. It's already there, why not? Everything works. So I'd like to try to do that if possible. What I'm up to here, this is a little bigger round bar than this is. Reason for that, the trunk's got a bigger, whatever you want to call it, bull nose. This piece here that we cut off, you can see that it goes from one size to another. So we're going to try to do the same thing by using this piece of round bar. So I'm just going to try to match it up best I can. flow through here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for a roof line. So I want to take this curve and take it all the way up the car. We may have to grind the top of this down a little bit just to make the sheet metal fit a little better. That's okay. But what I'm after is this curve for now. Obviously we're going to have to do something with this hole. I'm thinking about doing something with this hole anyway, so it's not a major concern. At this point, we just want to get this established and see if we like it. Okay, that's what we're looking at for a body line in the back. So what I'm seeing is your quarter panel is going to come up and make a peak. It's going to dip back down, give that kind of nice sweep effect. I'm thinking once we get the other side done, I think that's going to look pretty stylish. Just my opinion, but then what we're going to do, we're going to block this in, and then we're going to make just one single trunk lid, and then we'll frame in for the window. But I think what we're going to do for now, I'm going to go on the other side and put that in, and then I think we're pretty much ready to call it quits back here and move to the front. There might be a few other things I do back here. We may clean this up a little bit, and we may frig around with the trunk a little bit. But essentially, I think we're pretty much done back here. So if you look kind of at the side of the car here, I was going for this kind of profile, so I'm trying to keep that nice and straight, which I think it's pretty good. So that's what I'm up to. And I guess the next plan of attack, I'll have to give it a little bit of thought, but we may look at framing in the trunk, or we may move to the front. All right, everybody. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Stick with me, and I hope you like it. Hit that like button and subscribe. That'd be great. Thanks a lot.